Hey, everybody. I don't know if I should say happy, but this is Domestic Violence Month. October is Domestic Violence Month, and we always have something special that I do during Domestic Violence Month. Domestic violence is my area of research, and what I know for sure is that one in three, depending on the data, one in four, one in seven for some places, specifically for men and special populations, people who have been impacted by domestic violence. One in three, one in four, one in seven. Those numbers are extremely high. And the impact of domestic violence is unfathomable. It impacts individuals, families, groups of people, communities, organizations. It impacts everyone from birth to death. This work is very important to me, and I have been doing this work for a long time, but I have not been doing it by myself. I have some really good friends who have been doing this work with me, and one of them is able to join me tonight. And I am so thankful to be starting this domestic violence awareness series out with my girlfriend of 30 years. We were in undergrad together. We have been doing this work together, and I am so thankful to have future doctor, because she is getting her doctoral degree, future Dr. Helen Fishel with me. Hey, girlfriend.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
I'm good. Well, Helen, let me explain to the people. We were supposed to go live at 7 o'clock, but we had a few tech difficulties. But I tell you, the producer, Dr. Gary Jones, I have some wonderful friends, said, listen, you all have got to do this work. So let me send you over to another platform so that you can get this message out. So let me just give a shout out and a thank you to Dr. Gary Jones. Helen Fisher, I'm going to call you Dr. Future Doctor because it's what's going to happen.
Prophesy.
Yes, right. That's right. We have been in this thing. Helen, can you believe it's been 30 years?
I know. I can't believe it. Time has just flown by so quickly.
Hasn't it?
Mhm.
Wow. And was it, I'm scared to date, 1997 when we got the grant
It
to
was
do this work?
1998. I know that's when yeah,
1998.
yeah. I think that's when
Yeah.
I came on board. Yeah,
So
with it.
we were students together at our beloved Oakwood, then college, now university.
Right,
And we were friends in undergrad, and who would have thought that we were associates in undergrad because we
right,
knew
right.
each other, but
We knew each other. I
we
used to
knew
sit
each other.
behind you in class,
Yeah,
just watch you because
with my red hair.
you were
Don't
so
tell.
studious.
And so we knew each other, and who would have thought, Helen, that 3 or 4 years, 5 years later, we would come together again and
Yeah.
really become really close friends. I will tell the world that Helen Fitchell is one of my closest friends. So who would have thought? But wow, how did this begin? I would have never envisioned doing the work that I do now
Right.
in domestic violence. But it started with you. So tell us a little bit about how we got into this journey.
Well, really, I would say, Dr. Edith Fraser, who has mentored us
Absolutely.
both, and I know you all were working at Oakwood before I was there, and you applied for this grant, and then I got hired as the program coordinator for the grant. So I remember being given the actual proposal when you all won,
We got the grant.
the proposal, and I'm looking at it like, whoa, these are a lot of goals and objectives to accomplish.
Dr. Fraser had high standards and high goals, and we were gonna change
So,
the world.
right. So, I'm the type of person I like to get it done. So, um, I just remember thinking this is a lot, but let's do it. And I just remember as I don't know what the conversation was, but I know that a lot of the grant involved the program coordinator and working with student interns. I remember
Mhm.
we were supposed to have like 5 student interns, and I think we started off with 3.
Yes.
And a lot of it was working with local churches, going to churches to do presentations on domestic violence. The students had to be trained with the local shelter to
Mhm.
work with survivors of domestic violence and intimate partner violence. Hi, Kathy.
Hey, Kathy. She's here. Listen, we didn't think you. Maybe that's why we
Glad
had
you
our
could
tech
make it.
delays.
Yes.
Hey. So
Hey.
we were just talking about how we got started, and there
Okay.
were not. It wasn't just the two of us, but we'll get come to that. All
Okay.
right, go ahead, Helen.
So yeah, so the students, and I remember going through the training myself. I think it was a first responder training, and talking with churches, and you just got involved. So you would come with me and help do the presentations, and then we did some trainings with the theology students. And so Keslet, I would say that we were partners in fighting crime. That's what
Yeah,
that
partners
was.
against crime. Partners.
Yeah, I remember that. And it was just exciting work. It was just, meeting with different community leaders in the faith community, in the social service community, and saying, hey, can we come to your church and do a presentation? And for some of the places that we went to, this was the first time that they had ever had
Anything
something
like
come,
this.
yeah, anything like that. And it was just it was an exciting time, and I just got to meet so many people as a result of this work. And
Mhm.
as you said, Keslin, that our bond grew stronger. And then,
Mhm.
as friends, we pulled our other friends into it, Kathy and Renee, and we all got involved. So it wasn't just a professional thing of, meeting the objectives of the grant, but it became a personal endeavor, right?
Yeah,
Because in
yeah,
our journey of
absolutely.
meeting people and speaking to people at churches, people were coming forward after the programs and saying, I'm going through this. I am a survivor. And it was like, whoa, this is a lot bigger than what we thought, especially in the faith community.
I
So
think we started to see that this is something beyond numbers and a definition in a book,
right.
right? Right?
Yes.
It's beyond an academic interest. This really is real life for some people.
Yeah.
This is their life. This is what they
Yes.
experience. And I was saying in our previous broadcast when we had our technical issues that I really didn't know much about what domestic violence was. I knew abuse, but I didn't know the components of it. I didn't know that it entailed more than physical abuse. I didn't know that it was spiritual and psychological and emotional and financial and sexual abuse. I didn't know that, it could involve intimate partners and regardless of orientation and practices and children. So when we met these people while we were doing the presentations, it brought the numbers and the words off the page and
Yes.
made it real. And then of course, the one incident that was probably that for me was a um gosh, it was just one of those experiences that just change your life, and it really changed the direction of my life. And that was when the two sisters were killed in our faith community. And it
Right.
was a tragedy. It was a
Yes.
tragedy. It was a tragedy.
Yes.
So, Kathy, we've been doing this work, Sister Girls, for 30 years almost, right? Wow. That just made me so emotional. 30 years we have been in this work. We started when we were two because we're still very young. No, just kidding. But when you think about the beginning, Kat, um, this is Dr. Kathy Purnell. Welcome, Dr. Purnell. When you think about the beginning 30 years ago, what comes to your mind?
Well, I remember the
And by the way, thank you for joining us. I know that you are wearing five different
I
hats tonight.
am
So
so
thank you for
I
joining us.
I just wanted to jump in really quick. But
Yeah.
when I think about, and hi Helen, it's good to see you as well. When I think about what you just said, At the time, I believe I was the family life leader at Madison Mission, um, and part of the community that experienced the loss of two sisters.
Mhm.
Um, that's hard to talk about
Mhm.
still, but I remember at that time we felt, what can we do? What can we all do? And I remember us talking, and I think it was Keslin that said, let's reach out to Edith Frazier. And Edith hosted the four of us, Renee, Helen, you, myself, at her place. She had the fireplace on, she cooked for us, and she
Good food.
listened.
Good food.
Yeah, she listened to our concerns and really didn't tell us what to do, but just in Edith's way, really helped us to think about what we're thinking about and articulate it.
Mhm.
And we put our heads together and said we have to do something. And I remember when the start model emerged, I was changing my son's diaper in my front room, and you and Helen were planning a training. And I remember Helen just saying an acronym. Acronyms are always great, people remember them. And start, it's like the Lord just gave the start model. You just
Mhm.
START. And
Mhm.
that model has really evolved. And I even use that model now in my DEI work,
Yes.
Mhm.
to really help organizations and dealing with anything from microaggressions to strategic planning to whatever it may be. So I think about the fact that we all had heart and a desire to make a change
Yeah.
as Oakwood social work graduate students. And we're still at it in our various areas of leadership. Yeah.
And somehow during October, I don't know about you ladies, but I get recentered in October.
Yeah.
I get recentered and I um, make an intentional effort to
Yes. Yes.
refocus on that very thing that brought us together and impact so many people. Really, so many people.
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I remember, Helen, you used to do, both of you used to do programs at Oakwood Church this time,
Yes.
Yes.
that really brought that element of awareness to this
Yeah. Yeah.
issue. And I think many people hear domestic violence and don't think about the various, how it shows up in different ways, like you just said,
Absolutely.
Keslin.
Absolutely.
And I think through this constant awareness, you doing this time of the year, people go, oh, that's my experience.
Right.
Know?
Right.
Oh, that person was, we have those moments as people reach out to you and say, thank you for the post, you know, and they tell you their story
Absolutely.
and they tell
Yeah.
you their stories. So for me,
Yeah.
this is ministry, it's soul work, it's soulful work.
Mhm.
I call the work I do around DEI soulful work. You can't leave a piece of yourself at home and do this work. But this
Mhm.
month, there's just something about it.
Yeah, recenters. It just
Yeah.
recenters.
Yeah, yeah,
And I think with the pandemic, the rates of domestic violence and
Mm.
intimate partner violence, went up significantly
yeah,
in America, globally.
yeah.
And to me, I just, that really, just knowing that, my heart was broken, because I'm just
Mhm.
thinking, for some people, there was just no escape, you
Mhm.
know,
Yeah,
um,
Literally no escape.
literally, now I'm stuck in the house. Where
yeah,
do I go?
yeah,
Um, and
yeah.
so the pandemic really brought to light the issue of domestic violence and the need for us to continue with this work,
Yeah.
and to not forget it, not forget what needs to be done. I think with the increase in technology and new ways
Mm-hmm.
of you know abusing people, right, using technology,
Yes.
you know that we have to again continue to educate people
Mhm.
on how they can protect themselves, and
Yes.
looking at policy and so
Yes.
forth to protect themselves, because as technology advances, the ways to you know, potentially harm somebody else will change and morph.
Absolutely.
And,
Definitely.
so I think this pandemic for me really highlighted the need for us to continue research,
Yes.
I
doing
was just
research and
about to
so
say
forth.
that, Helen. I was
Hmm.
just about to say that. And I say it all the time as a part of the work that I do with doctoral scholars. Your research matters,
Yes.
right? But no, really, your research matters.
It
Hmm.
does.
We only know what we know because someone took the time to ask the questions and get the answers that make a difference. And what we
Definitely.
know is that domestic violence has increased exponentially during COVID,
Yeah.
right? What we know is that people didn't have the resources to get the help that they needed. What we know is that a lot of people struggled in ways that we cannot begin to understand
Yes.
during COVID as a result of domestic violence. Intimate partner violence, I mean, the definitions vary. I mean, they're slightly different, right? But it looks like coercion. It looks like a threat. It feels unsettled, unsafe. It's not just physical abuse, it's emotional abuse. It's someone using their position or power to usurp your ability to make decisions for yourself. It's not just physical abuse, although it does include physical abuse. And it's so important that we recognize the breadth of it. Yeah, Kathy.
I want to say this, and then I'm going to have to go back into the gala. But I also remember the red flags piece that you would do,
Yeah.
and I think it's important. This is where people have that aha moment. I'm a victim of domestic violence. So I think I'm hoping that I don't know if there's a follow up part two next week, but I think it's really important to be able to share those red flags for people who are stuck, as well as
Yeah.
the number. I saw the number floating across the bottom, which is great.
Yes.
But knowing the red flags, knowing here's how you can be in danger, and here are resources for you to use to ensure that you're safe
Yes.
in such an environment. So I always remember that over the years, the red flags. That's where students and people in the training would go, yeah,
Yeah.
that's me.
So
Hmm.
over the course of this month, I'm committed to posting something every day
Hmm.
on my social medias
Yeah,
pages. Definitely on Facebook at Dr. Kesslin,
yes,
probably on Instagram.
yeah,
We're gonna have something every Sunday at
awesome.
7 o'clock.
Hmm.
Technology pending, but we'll have something every Sunday. I'm gonna bring in guests, and it's not just gonna be um, there are going to be some cool guests. I'm going to have some pastors, some
Hmm.
brothers, one of my friends who is a researcher in the Asian Pacific Islander community on research. I mean, it's going to be a
Excellent,
great week. So I welcome everybody to join us
awesome.
every Sunday at 7. Kathy, I know you have to run. Thank you so much for being
Yeah,
in this work
yes.
with us.
Thank
Um,
you. Thank you both for your work. Let's
absolutely,
take it to the next level, ladies.
absolutely,
Let's do
absolutely.
it. God bless you all.
You too.
Take
You
care.
Thanks
too,
again. Thank you.
Kathy.
Helen, you'll be interested in hearing that one of those interns that you talked about earlier, she will be defending her. I won't call her name. I
All
don't want to
right.
embarrass her, but she will be defending her dissertation on domestic violence
Yes.
on next week Monday. She will be defending her dissertation
Isn't
and
that
she always
something?
says it's amazing. It's
A
amazing.
new generation,
And
you
she's
know.
looking at self care for compassion fatigue and self care for domestic violence providers.
Right.
So, yeah, the work
The
continues.
work continues, and it has to. When you talked about research, if I'm pulling an article, I want to find something that was written in 2020,
Mhm.
2021, because it has it's domestic violence, intimate partner violence has been with us from the beginning of time, but
Yes.
we need to continue the research
Yes.
and continue getting data. What does it look like now? You know, in light of the various changes in our society and so forth. So I'm just excited about our former student and the work that she's doing,
Yes.
and I want to be able to use one of her articles in the future.
Yes. Maybe I'll be able to announce her name. I'll have to ask her permission, but I'll be able to
Right.
announce her name next Sunday. I don't know. Maybe I'll be able to bring her on. How about that?
Yeah,
I'll be
that
able
would
to
be
bring her
great.
on. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yes.
Maybe after she defends, I'll bring her
Yes.
on and introduce her as doctor. So that'll be cool. Helen, really quick, we're wrapping up. This is just a week one of a series,
Right.
but in all of the 30 years of doing this work, what have you learned? What has this work taught you about yourself?
Huh. I would say that it's taught me how to network
Mm.
and how to
Mm.
um, strategize.
Mm.
Yeah. Now I could write some goals and objectives, girl. Let me tell you. Um, I really, and actually, it's really, I love macro work. Because as social workers, we're trained as generalists, right? But this work really made me realize that my specialty is working with communities and organizations. That's me, right? I'm a visionary. I'm a visionary leader.
Yes, you are.
You give me a lemon, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna make a lemonade factory. Okay, what do we need? I see the big picture, and I
Yeah.
think doing this work has really taught me that how to work with communities and organizations to make change,
Mm.
to make change.
Mm.
And I love this work. I love what I'm doing in social work. And I just was just amazed at how for the time that we had that grant and beyond, how we were able to make so many changes, like have domestic violence Sabbaths and things like that. So
Yeah.
really, if we want to make change, um, it doesn't take many people to make change.
Mm.
It just takes dedicated people, right? I
Yeah.
think there's a quote by Margaret Mead that talks about that. And I just, that's what I've learned. When you're committed, you can make change
Yeah.
wherever you are. Doesn't have to be global. It could just be in your corner of the world.
Yeah. And if you brighten your corner,
Exactly.
other corners will brighten as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think, what have I learned? I think I've learned that we are more alike than we are different,
Mm-hmm.
meaning people. And pain is pain.
Yes.
Everybody, maybe not everybody, many people have experienced some form of trauma
Mm-hmm.
that have caused pain. And unless we deal with it, acknowledge it, we talk about the START model. S
Right.
to shatter the silence. It starts with realizing what is. It's not make believe, it is what it is. Shatter the silence and talk about it. It is italicized because it's still in the closet to some
Mm-hmm.
degree, right? But we have to talk about it. Once you realize what it is, you have to talk about it. And alert the public. Um, we talk about macro social work, developing a plan
Yes.
to alert the public. That's what the A is. And R is refer. None of us know everything, but
Mm-hmm.
there are specialists in each of the areas that we are looking for to help resolve some of the trauma. So, refer. And then T, continue to get training. I still continue to get
Yes.
EV training, even though I've published about it and written, and,
Mm-hmm.
there's always something to learn. So,
Yeah.
that's the START model. But I realized, even with all of that, Helen, that people are more alike than we are different, and there is
Mm-hmm.
some common ground. And unfortunately, domestic violence is one of those common grounds for so many
Yes.
people, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, just extend a little more grace, a little more mercy. because we're more alike than we are different. But it's been
So
a great
true.
30 years.
It has.
We've done a lot of work.
Yeah, we have.
We've done a
We
lot,
have.
and yet there's more to do.
Yeah.
Let me just pause and give a shout out to my friends over these last 30 years. Helen, you talked about networking. I've met a lot of friends, a lot of people who are doing great work and making amazing changes for victims and survivors and perpetrators of domestic violence. So, to all of you all who are doing this work specifically in Domestic Violence Awareness Month, I say thank you. We must
Yes.
collaborate. We must do the work together. Even last week, I learned about two more agencies, amazing agencies who are doing this work. So, I just want to invite you to collaborate with us as we continue to move forward. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for being here with me and
Thank you for
doing this
having
work.
me. Thank you.
It's been cool. It's been cool. Follow me on social medias. I am Dr. Kesslin everywhere. DrKesslyn. Facebook, Instagram, uh, um, YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. I have lots of stuff there. Some things about domestic violence, but most of my work is related to supporting doctoral pursuers, those who are interested in getting in, through, and out of their doctoral program. And I always say the doctoral degree is not merely a degree of intelligence, it is a degree of persistence. But the other thing that I always say is that your research matters. Domestic violence is my research area, so I dedicate the month of October to bringing information to people about domestic violence. But it's important. Before I end this broadcast, I want to encourage you to reach out, use the domestic violence hotline. That number was scrolling across the bottom of your screen. I want you to, if you feel like you could possibly be in a domestic violence situation and you're not sure, but you think you need some support, I want to encourage you to call the domestic violence hotline. You can also Google the domestic violence, and the number will come up. It will be safe. You will be protected. You will be safe. But I just want to encourage you to be safe and be well. This is Dr. Kesslin with the PhD Consultants. Thank you for spending this time with me. I look forward to seeing you next Sunday at 7 o'clock if all goes well. And I'll talk to you soon. Be safe and be well, everybody. Have a good night. Bye bye.